mentioned, I guess almost all of you or 80 to 90% of students have done the torsion experiment. We had one shaft which was at the ends. It is nothing but the torque. We were applying the torque. Once we apply torque, if this I can consider as where if I go on applying to this shaft, what will happen is this shaft will be subjected to twist. That is nothing but the twisting movement or twisting couple. That is equal and opposite forces which will try to rotate this shaft. So what will happen? This whatever circumferential fibers are there, those fibers concepts, that is theory of pure torsion. What does theory of pure torsion mean? When shaft is subjected to only torsion load, only torque, we apply only torque to a particular shaft, there is then that particular shaft is said to be subjected to pure torsion. Okay, why we are studying? Because whenever we see shafts are used to transmit power. Actually, what is the function of shaft? Shaft is a mechanical element which has comparatively higher the cross. Majorly when we decide about it is circular shaft. Again, there might be solid shaft also and there might be shaft. But basically we are concentrating on circular shafts which are used in transmission machinery or mechanism. When these shafts are to be designed, there are various theories to be considered. So two basic theories which are there. The shaft is designed based on the that is statics. What is that? Already in gear also we will be learning. Allowable shear, because shaft is subjected to shearing, that type of load. So when load is applied, the shaft may fail under shear. It is made up of some material. That material has some allowable strength. We will be giving design means basically we, as I had already explained into the classes, we will be finding the diameter of the shaft. Design of shafts. There might be hollow. Basically what? The shaft should sustain is to cross that, or once it crosses that limiting value, the shaft will or it will start experiencing malfunctioning or failure. That is with respect to the strength criteria. Then next comes one more criteria, that is rigidity criteria. What is rigidity criteria? Angle is limited to certain degrees. Okay, then that theta value we'll see in detail. What is already we have seen, but still I will just quickly revise. So that whatever theta is there, okay, whatever the cross section will be experiencing, that theta will be limited, and when it crosses that limiting value, means what you can say, it is like distortion type. When shaft exceeds that limiting value of theta, then that shaft may be considered as a failure. Okay, so I'll just draw one simple shaft 2D view first. So this is one shaft you can call. This shaft will be having grid lines. Okay, this is applied torque, which we are applying onto the shaft. Due to this shaft, what will happen is this horizontal shaft will experience wrapping. Okay, that particular shaft will experience twisting movement. And one case study will take where okay, one end is fixed, you can call, and when the shaft is subjected, to some torsion or some applied torque, what will happen is initially these lines, whichever grid lines are straight, these lines will experience some sort of inclination. That is, how far you move, that much inclination. Okay, this is already has been explained into the class. This is just a quick revision. So these grid lines, whatever are there, those lines will get twisted. So initially it might be like this, but later you can experience certain twist into these lines. And suppose initially line is horizontal and later this line may become inclined. So this angle, whatever it is there, that angle we call it is an shear strain. Initial grid line is horizontal, you can see here, and later if it becomes like this angle along the length, because this is the length of the shaft, this is nothing but the shear strain, which we denote it by symbol nu. This is what happens along the length. What will happen to the circumference or at the cross section? We will have, this is O point, this is B point, and when I apply torque, this point will shift somewhere here, B dash. The angle between these two is nothing but the theta, that is angle of wrap. So along the length, if you can notice, there are these lines which are perfect horizontal. If I fix this end and if I try to rotate this, these lines will shift or they might be inclined, they are non-parallel. So how much deviation has happened? That is nothing but the shear strain which will be induced into the shaft, and across the cross section, any reference point you take which is initially straight, okay, then that will also twist. That deviation, that angle is nothing but the theta, or sometimes we call it as an wrap angle. So we have seen just basic introduction of the shaft, then what is pure torsion, we'll directly go to the derivation part. Okay, so two parts you have explained here. One is shear strain and one is angle of twist or angle of wrap. Okay, so why I have covered this? Because this is just a brushing where we'll be deriving general equation which will be to find a shaft or diameter of a shaft for given conditions. Okay, so whenever derivation is being asked to you, it is your duty to write about the assumptions also. So write down assumptions of torsion theory. Assumptions of torsion theory. Assumptions of torsion theory. Okay, assumptions of torsion theory. First assumption, write down, circular section remains circular even after application of load. So I'll just write keywords, circular section remains circular. Circular section remains circular even after application of load. Means what? That shape distortion will not happen. Okay, this is actual assumption, but in reality it may not be like that. Second, the plane section remains plane. Plane sections. Okay, this assumption we have taken in case of bending also. Remains plane. The plane section remains plane. Do not wrap under influence of torque. In short, this is does not wrap. That is, do not wrap under influence of torque. That is, plane section remains plane. Okay. Third assumption, like grid lines, whatever I had shown, those are nothing but the all random lines in any transverse section remain straight without being distorted in curved line. That is third assumption. Or you can say grid lines remains straight. Because of this assumption, few things will be simplifying. Then the shaft is subjected to twisting couple whose planes are exactly perpendicular to longitudinal axis. Okay, shaft is subjected to twisting couple. So I'll write shaft is equal to twisting couple. Shaft is subjected to twisting couple whose planes are exactly perpendicular. Planes are perpendicular. So planes are perpendicular. The next most common assumption, fifth one, material of the shaft is homogeneous and isotropic. Material of the shaft is material homogeneous and isotropic. Material is homogeneous and isotropic. Material of the shaft is homogeneous and isotropic. And last but not least, that is most again common, material of the shaft follows Hooke's law. So almost in every unit we have seen this assumption. That is, material of the shaft follows Hooke's law. So these are total 5 to 6 assumptions. First one is circular section remains circular even under application of. Second one, plane sections remain plane even under application of the load. Third one, those grid lines, whatever shaft lines, whatever I had shown, means it does not wrap. Then shaft is whose plane is perpendicular to the longitude. Fifth one is material is homogeneous and isotropic. What is homogeneity or what is homogeneity? Any section you take into that particular specimen that follows or it has same properties. That is what we call as an isotropy. At any angle or at any orientations, properties are same. Then last one is it follows Hooke's law. When we apply load, material will undergo deformation. Okay, that is stress is proportional to the strain within elastic limit. When we remove load, means what? When we remove load, material will regain its original shape and size. That is nothing but the Hooke's law. Means what? Stress is proportional to the strain within elastic limit. Indirectly, we are trying to say strain whichever are going to be produced are very small into that particular specimen. Okay. Continue as a title. We can write down torsion equation. Torsion equation. Write down. Consider a circular shaft. Consider a circular shaft of length L, that is capital L, and diameter D, small d, fixed rigidly at one end. Fixed rigidly at one end. At the same time, shaft is subjected to torque. Shaft is subjected to torque at the fixed end. Sorry, at the free end. Shaft is subjected to torque at free end, as shown below. As shown below. As shown below. Okay. So draw one. This part we can use for derivation. I'll draw it here. Axis of the shaft. You can consider 2 points. This is point A. This is point B. The free end will be subjected to torque. Okay. And it has length. This is side view. Cross-sectional view. So we'll consider this point I will call O. This is coinciding with this B, and it is subjected to torque. Due to this will become B dash. Okay. So that is cross-sectional view. This angle is theta. And also this is nothing but the B dash sorry, this is your strain. Here, it's a very simple thing. Shaft AB or shaft you can call, it has length L and it has diameter D. It has diameter D. Center axis or fiber we have considered, initially it is straight. Due to application of torque, what will happen? This will shift. Here it is free end, here it is fixed end. This angle is called as nu. Okay, and we know already it is shear strain. On cross section, what will happen? This B point is this. Due to application of torque, this point will shift here. That is B dash, and this angular displacement is nothing but the theta. Okay, write down. Due to applied torque, shear strain nu. Due to applied torque, shear strain nu will be induced in the shaft. Will be induced in the shaft. And plane at the free end, is rotated by an angle theta with respect to the fixed end, which is angle of twist in the shaft, Okay, that is what we have shown there. Assuming, next line, assuming shear strain is very small, we have shear strain nu is equal to, this shear strain nu is equal to, similar to the r theta, okay, is nothing but the L into B dash. That is L into nu. Shear strain is very small, therefore we have B dash is equal to L into nu. Okay, so B dash is nothing but the arc, that is what we are going to find, which is nothing but this into this angle. So this is nothing but the length of the shaft, that is L, and angle is nothing but the nu. Also B dash is here also. B dash is equal to, this is nothing but the r, that is d by 2 is radius. B dash is equal to r into theta. So first B dash is this, that is nothing but the displacement, which is L into nu. Second, here B dash is equal to r into theta. Equating both. what will you get? L nu is equal to r into theta. Okay, sorry. L nu is equal to r into theta. What do you want? We want nu. So nu is equal to r theta divided by L. What is nu? Nu is nothing but the shear strain. So you write here, nu is shear strain. Okay. So nu is equal to r theta by L. Continue. From above, it is clear that shear strain at a point is directly proportional to its radial distance from center of the section. Okay. Next, from Hooke's law, we know that modulus of rigidity G is equal to shear stress divided by shear strain. So G is equal to, shear stress is tau, shear strain is nu. Okay. Substitute for nu. G is equal to tau divided by, what is nu? R theta divided by L. So L you can take that side, upper side, that is G is equal to tau L divided by R theta, or simply you can send these terms this side. Tau by R is equal to G as it is divided by L, that is G theta by L. This is one part of your torsion equation, where theta is angle of twist in radians, tau is a shear stress, R is the radius of shaft, G is a shear modulus or modulus of rigidity, theta is angle of twist in radians, L is nothing but the length of the shaft. Okay, you can call this as equation number 1, that is tau by R is equal to G theta by L. This is one portion, that is shear stress is related with the G theta and L. G nothing but the rigidity. So stress and rigidity concepts both are related. That you can call as an equation number 1. Okay. Next, this is half derivation. Remaining half, write down. Consider, on next page, if you want you can start. Consider a section of a shaft subjected to torque, capital T. Consider section of a shaft subjected to torque T. Assume a circular element of radial thickness dr. Assume a circular element of radial thickness dr at radius r, small r, okay, at radius r. Also assume surface of the shaft is subjected to maximum shear stress. Also assume surface of the shaft is subjected to maximum shear stress tau. Okay. So what you do is you draw one, or else I will do it here. You draw one circular element, cross section of a shaft. This is center. Okay. This is capital R, that is radius. At any radius, you need to assume one small element. So this is nothing but the small r, okay, with thickness dr. That is what mentioned to you. So this is a circular section of a shaft, outer one, which is having r, that is maximum radius, or capital D. D by 2 is nothing but the r. Then at a small r, we are considering one circular element of thickness dr, that is acting at a small r. Write down next, referring to this figure, elemental area dA is equal to 2 pi r into dr. 2 pi r is the circumference into dr, thickness, multiplied by thickness. So elemental area is 2 pi r into dr. Next, also we know that there is linear relationship between radial distance from the center and shear stress at a point. Shear stress at a point. Here. At r is equal to r. That is, when this r becomes equal to capital R. Means what? We are going at, this is origin, this is circumference. That is at the outer surface. R is equal to R, tau is equal to tau max. That is, maximum shear stress will be acting onto the surface. At R is equal to 0, tau is also 0, which is nothing but the tau minimum. So always remember, at the center, shear stress is variable with respect to the radius. So at the center, stress is 0. At outer surface, shear stress is maximum. In general, with respect to the radius, how I can write is, tau is equal to r divided by r. Means, tau r, that is elemental shear stress, is equal to tau multiplied by small r divided by capital R. Tau elemental is equal to, this is stress, shear stress, r divided by r. When this r at the origin, r is 0, so this entire thing will become 0. That is what tau minimum. When the small r becomes equal to the capital R, that is at the outer surface, when it becomes equal to that, r divided by r is 1, so tau r becomes tau, that is nothing but the maximum. That is what we need to write here. Write down. Therefore, in an element, shear stress in an element can be written as tau r is equal to tau multiplied by r divided by r, whereas r is small r. As small r approaches to capital R, tau r becomes maximum. Okay, r divided by r. Next, we know this shear stress, elemental shear stress. Write down elemental shear force. Next line, elemental shear force. Elemental shear force. We know stress, we know area. How do you calculate force? Fr is equal to tau r multiplied by area. Shear stress Newton per mm square, area mm square, Newton per mm square multiplied by mm square. So mm square will get cancelled, only Newton will remain. So Fr is equal to tau r is this tau multiplied by r divided by r, and dA is this 2 pi r into dr. So just simplify this, 2 pi, okay, tau, 2 pi tau are constants. So 2 pi tau divided by r is a constant because only small r is a variable. So what is this? R is nothing but the r and r. So r square into dr. So Fr is 2 pi tau r square (2 pi tau r square), 2 pi tau divided by r into r square dr. This is nothing but the elemental force. Okay. Next, torque on the element. Torque on the element. Torque on the element. That is elemental torque. Elemental torque TR. So TR is equal to Fr multiplied by radius. Force multiplied by radius. So Fr 2 pi tau divided by r, that is capital R, into r square multiplied by r into dr. So what will you get? TR is equal to 2 pi tau divided by r into r square multiplied by r cube dr. 2 pi r cube dr. Okay. Got as an elemental torque. What I want now, I want total torque. Once I know elemental torque, I can integrate elemental torque for the entire torque. Which will be the variable? Small r. That is nothing but the radius. Torque for entire section. To get torque for entire section. So integrating, TR will become now T, 2 pi tau divided by R is a constant, integration of R cube dr with respect to R. How R is varying? R is varying from 0 to R. Okay, so R at the center it is 0, at the outer circles that is nothing but at the outer surface it is capital R. So Ri it is 0 and R0 it is capital R. So variation of R is inner surface it is 0, outer surface it is capital R. So integrate this, 2 pi tau divided by R integration of r cube is r raised to 4 divided by 4, 0 to capital R. So if I substitute this or simplify, 2 pi tau capital R raised to 4 minus 0. So capital R raised to 4 minus 0 divided by 4R. So 1 R will go, or else will keep as it is. This 2 will go, this will become 2, and this will remain pi R raised to 4 by 2 is nothing but the, write down, simplified version, t is equal to pi R raised to 4 divided by 2 into tau. This I will replace with some constant. Pi R raised to 4 divided by 2, and this R will remain as it is. So this pi R raised to 4 by 2 is nothing but the j tau divided by R. So T by J is equal to tau by R. This I will call equation number 2. So what we have done here, pi R raised to 4 divided by 2 is nothing but the Jp. Jp is nothing but the polar moment of inertia, which is pi R raised to 4 divided by 32 or pi d raised to 4 by 32. So in case of diameter, it will become pi d raised to 4 by 32. That is nothing but the Jp, which you need to remember. That is polar moment of inertia. I have just cancelled these two. I have kept R as it is and tau by R as it is. So T by J is equal to tau by R. Now comparing equation 1 and 2. Both the sides we have, write down, comparing equations 1 and 2. We get, okay, I'll wipe this now. What do we get? Comparing equations 1 and 2. So I'll rewrite those equations. What is equation 1? Tau by R is equal to g theta divided by L. This is 1. And what is equation number 2? T by J is equal to tau by R. This is equation number 2. So comparing equation number 1 and 2, we can write T by J is equal to tau by R is equal to g theta by L. This is our torsion equation. This is standard torsion equation, where T is a torque applied, in Newton meter, J or Jp, okay, or sometimes it is J, polar moment of inertia, again, which will be in with respect to millimeter raised to 4. Okay. Then next we have tau, shear stress, allowable or induced shear stress in Newton per mm square. R is the radius of shaft. R is radius of shaft, which is in mm. G is modulus of rigidity or shear modulus, which is also in Newton per millimeter square. Theta is angle of twist. In radians usually we take, and L is length of the shaft. which is also in millimeter. Okay, so this is standard torsion equation or generalized torsion equation. T by J is equal to tau by R is equal to G theta by L. T is torque applied in Newton meter. J, polar moment of inertia or simply moment of inertia. Tau is a shear stress induced or allowable shear stress. R is the radius of shaft and G is shear modulus. Theta is angle of twist and L is nothing but the length of the shaft. So these are, or this is what we call as an standard torsion equation. Okay, so here what we have is one constant you need to remember, that is nothing but the polar moment of inertia, that is Jp, which is pi d raised to 4 by 32 or pi r raised to 4 by 2, either in case of with respect to the radius or either with respect to the diameter. You should remember what we did initially. We consider one circular shaft fixed at one end, free at other end, subjected to torque. This will get shifted. This is nu shear strain, which is very small. Therefore, B dash is equal to L into nu. That was our first thing. Similarly, onto the cross section, this will get shifted. So, B dash is equal to R into theta. Equating both, we got one equation, that is with respect to the nu. Then, what we got? Shear stress, that is by modulus of rigidity, G is equal to shear stress divided by shear strain. Okay, so tau, G is equal to tau divided by nu. We substituted for nu. So G, equation number 1 we got, that is G divided by R theta into L. We send those terms like G by, tau by R is equal to G theta by L, that side. Then we considered one small element of thickness dr at a radius r. Okay. Then after considering elemental area, we have considered one force which will be subjected to shear stress. Okay, and shear stress has linear relationship. Tau r or elemental shear stress is equal to tau multiplied by as small r approaches to capital R, that tau will become maximum shear stress. At the center, it becomes 0. So we got nothing but the shear stress multiplied which is varying from 0 to capital R at the we got one equation, one constant we substituted, that